Good morning, everyone. Today, our topic is environmental safety or false compliance. This topic is about being honest and protecting the environment. So, first, I will talk about this case. This case is about an environmental engineer. The engineer checks water and air pollution from a factory. The factory is near a tourist place, so pollution is a serious problem. The engineer found that the factory's wastewater was higher than the legal limit, but the supervisor asked the engineer to change the data. This was difficult situation. The engineer had to choose between telling the truth or following the orders. So we believe that the engineer should tell the truth and protect our environment.
So our group preliminary decision is that we disagree with the action of the engineer to adjust the data and report falsely because it is considered unethical, violates professional standards, prioritizes profit over safety, and it harms the ecosystem.
Now I will talk about a similar case, real case. This was happened in USA. It involved the Stella Jones company. The company released toxic chemicals into the river. They also gave false pollution reports. So because of this, the company was punished. They paid a large fine and they lost their public trust. So this case shows that lying about pollution has serious consequence.
Okay, so based on the situation, the next thing that we will conduct is the harm test. Right, so as an engineer working in a factory, there are two options that we can choose. First is that we adjust the data and we falsify the report, or we do not adjust the data and we report honestly. Of course, both these options have its pros and cons that we have to scrutinize carefully because they involve different parties. For example, as environmental engineer, falsifying the reports may allow us to avoid conflict with our supervisor temporarily, and we may appear compliant in the short term. But if our action were to be discovered, then we have to face legal risk because of our violation of environmental law. If an engineer report honestly, then he can maintain honesty and professional ethics as an engineer, and he is protected from legal consequences because he didn't violate any environmental law. The cons of not adjusting the data is that we will face job pressure from our superior. For the company or the industries, adjusting the data may allow the company to avoid fines temporarily, but if exposed, then the company will face severe reputation damage. By not adjusting the data and reporting honestly, the company can build long-term public trust because they display honesty and accountability. But they have to face a short-term financial impact. For the local community, falsifying the report will not result in immediate disruption, but there will be health risks due to the pollution that occurred. By reporting honestly, we can allow the local community to have a safer environment and a clean water source. Next, in the field of tourism, if an engineer were to adjust a data and falsify report, tourism may continue temporarily, but in the long run, there will be a decline in tourism if the pollution is revealed. Whereas we can ensure a safe and clean tourist area by reporting honestly. For environment, the lake and the ecosystem, falsifying the reports will not result in immediate action, but there would be long-term ecosystem damage to the lake. By reporting honestly, we can prevent pollution and protect the ecosystem. Government agencies, on the other hand, will not result in immediate enforcement action, but they may become misled by the false data that we have reported. Reporting honestly can allow accurate enforcement of laws and public trust to be maintained.
Okay, so now we will move on to professional tests. So basically, integrity in environmental reporting is taken very seriously in Malaysia, especially under the Environmental Quality Act 1974. So the reason for this is very simple, which environmental decisions depend heavily on accurate data. If the data is false or manipulated, the consequences can affect public health, ecosystem, and even future generations. So under Section 34A, the law clearly makes it an offence to submit false or misleading information in an environmental impact assessment. So EIAs are meant to predict potential environmental damage before a project even starts. So any dishonesty at this stage can lead to serious or irreversible harm. Next is Section 37. which reinforces this by criminalizing inaccurate environmental compliance reports, which are used to monitor whether companies are following pollution control standards. Other than that, what's even more important is Section 42, which extends liability to anyone who assists or encourages the wrongdoing, meaning responsibility doesn't stop with just one person. So this approach also aligns with international standards like the 1992 Convention on Transboundary Watercourses, which stresses transparency and accurate reporting to protect shared environments. So, falsifying pollution data isn't just a small mistake, it's a serious legal and ethical offense with real consequences.
In this section, I will explain how major religions in Malaysia view this ethical issue. First, from an Islamic perspective. From an Islamic perspective, protecting the environment is a religious duty. The Quran says, "And cause not corruption upon the earth after its formation." This means harming the nature is forbidden. Altering pollution data is also considered as cheating and deception, which Islam strictly prohibits. Therefore, both polluting the environment and falsifying reports violate moral and religious responsibility. Turning to Hinduism, truthfulness, known as Satya, is the highest moral value. Hinduism also teaches Dharma, which means fulfilling one's duty honestly. For an environmental engineer, this duty includes reporting accurate data and protecting society and nature. Falsifying information breaks both truthfulness and moral responsibility. In Buddhism, honesty is required through the principle of right speech, which forbids lying. Buddhism also emphasizes ahimsa, or non-harming, and compassion toward all living beings. Allowing pollution to continue by hiding the truth causes harm to ecosystems and communities, which is therefore morally wrong. From a Christianity perspective, altering environmental data is unacceptable because Christianity emphasizes truth and honesty. Humans are entrusted with stewardship over God's creation. Harming the environment through dishonesty violates this responsibility. Across all these faiths, the message is clear. Honesty and protecting the environment must come.
Thus, based on case study and data analysis, we believe that openness and honesty are essential in handling environmental issues, especially one that affect long-term environmental and social well-being. As environmental engineer, we have a responsibility to ensure that pollution data is reported without manipulation. Open communication shows our commitment to ethical standards. Even if the decision is challenging, we are confident and comfortable with our decision being made public as it supports environmental safety, legal compliance, and ethical accountability. Evaluating the ethical issues in this case, we conclude that reporting the pollution data honestly is the most ethical decision. As environmental engineer, we have a duty to upholding honesty, maintaining ethical conduct, and complying with legal standards to ensure public health and safety of the environment. By choosing ethical compliance over personal or organizational gain, we support a long-term environmental sustainability and societal well-being.